26 years into our democracy, have we as a society accepted those who identify as part of the LGBTQI plus community? Hello and welcome to the Surprise Scholar podcast. I am Surprise Golela. Apartheid South Africa regarded homosexuality as subversive, resulting in severe penalties. Homosexuals were grouped into psychiatric ward with drug abusers and the mentally ill. Our legislation, although protects the LGBTQI plus community, but our society still battles with homophobia, as seen in sometimes fatal attacks on those who are part of the LGBTQI plus community. A report in 2016 showed that more than half of the LGBTQI plus South Africans fear that they will experience discrimination due to their sexual orientation or gender. On today's episode, we are talking about democracy and the LGBTQI plus community in our country, South Africa. Now, the poll question that we are asking you as our viewers and listeners is, have we as a country fully accepted those who identify as part of the LGBTQI plus community? But to help us unpack this topic, I am joined by a 21-year-old South African rising writer, a researcher, mentor, entrepreneur, and a human rights activist. A very young person in South Africa, actually, born and bred in Mzwakhe, east of Johannesburg. They are joining me on the line. Because of COVID-19, they couldn't be with me actually at the same venue, but technology has allowed us to have such conversations. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined by the one and only Tshabalala, known to many as Lurnay Tshabalala, or the jurist Lurnay Tshabalala. Tulani, thank you so much for joining us right here on the Surprise Scholar podcast, and welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Surprise. Oh my God, quite an intro. Quite an intro. I feel established already.
Exactly. Like, when I'm introducing you here, I'm like, okay, this person is everything actually. And I know with that introduction that I've already given, there's someone who's wondering right now, who is this Tulani? I would love to know more. And I know there's no any other person who can introduce themselves better than yourself. So just tell us who Tulani Tshabalala is.
Okay, firstly, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity.
Yes.
It's a great opportunity. I love discussing things that are all about queer people, queer rights, human rights in totality, in its fullest capacity. So, Tulani Tshabalala, oh my God, there's a lot to say about that person. But then Tulani Tshabalala is for, family. That's a family person. Then Lurnay Tshabalala is the people's person. Lurnay Tshabalala is the people's advocate, aspiring advocate. Lurnay Tshabalala is just a young boy, just a young man growing up in the streets of Mzwakhe, a young boy who's all about what can we do for people, a young boy who's all about let's get educated, whether it's academically, whether it's about life, whether it's just about, things in general. Like, that's who I am. Lurnay is a very fun-spirited person. Lurnay is a very jokey person. Lurnay doesn't regard himself as a 21-year-old, but rather a 16-year-old, not because of the body or the height, but because my mentality, my mind, I like to think younger. I like to think for people younger than me. I like to think for people that are, still growing to become, who are still on their journey to becoming like I am, like I was during the age of 16 and 17. So that's why I regard myself as a 16-year-old. So Lurnay basically is a very, very young man, not 21, yes, 21, but then not really 21 up to, according to him. So yeah, that's just me. I'm a whole lot, but then if I would just go on, it'll take a long time. Yeah, I'm just a whole lot.
Well, you heard it yourself. Lurnay Tshabalala is a young person who actually of a 16-year-old mind. Can you imagine? Now, Tulani, let's get into this conversation that we want to have. A lot of people are of the say that South Africa is actually one of the safest countries in the whole world for the people of who are part of the LGBTQI plus community. You as a LGBTQI and also a human rights activist, especially in South Africa, do you also believe that South Africa is a safe place?
Honestly speaking, no, it's not.
Mm.
It's not. South Africa is just, let me say, there's a huge amount of percentage that welcomes LGBTQI people. And then we are more liberated. Let me just say, South Africa is a more liberated space for LGBTQI people rather than any other country or continent. Um, Not continent precisely, but a country. Let me just say a country.
Yes.
South Africa is the most liberated for the LGBTQI community.
Now, what are some of the challenges? I know you are an activist, and not only for the LGBTQI plus community, but also a human rights activist. And you would know some of the challenges that the LGBTQI plus community faces, especially in a country like ours, a democratic country especially. What are some of the challenges that people are facing?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because a few weeks ago I was thinking about writing a research paper based on that, you
Mm.
know, because we have a constitution, right?
Yes.
And our constitution, it's human rights.
Yes.
And as much as our constitution is based on human rights, LGBTQI rights form part of the human rights. Now, forgive me because I won't be able to quote because I don't have my things with me. I'm on vacation. I'm still on vacation.
Yes.
But I would say if one were to take their time to just investigate by looking through the constitution of our country and look through the Bill of Rights, they just find it that it is there that the human rights that we have include even queer people. Those are LGBTQI people. But then I think the challenges that we have is that the homophobia is the challenge. The homophobia that we have starts from the upper. And we usually think it comes from the communities that we live in, which are mostly heteronormative or cisgender communities. But then it starts from the upper. They call it I forgot what's the name, but it's the homophobia that comes from the upper level, the political level, of which you find in many cases that LGBTQI members are not in parliament. We have none in parliament representing under, especially the ANC, the leading party. I'm not trying to bash the ANC, but as a member of the ANC, actually, I'm quite disappointed that we don't even have one member who's representing us in parliament as an LGBTQI representative for the country, or for the LGBTQI people of the country, rather. So the challenge we have is the internalized homophobia. That's the word. Internalized state homophobia. That's the word. So I think that is the problem that we have, because the Constitution, yes, it does cater for us, but then when the state does not endorse it as much as it endorses gender-based violence towards women and children, then definitely the whole community won't endorse it, because right now the president himself, the honorable president, he's been endorsing gender-based violence, has been endorsing the campaigns against gender-based violence, which is a great thing. But how about him endorsing having campaigns which are fighting against homophobia. How about we have that?
Mm.
So
Well,
I'm struggling to find, a bone, just like a dog when it's looking for a bone. I'm struggling to find a bone to tag on, because this is definitely the homophobia that is internalized and start from the political level, the higher the state level. So if it hasn't started from there, then we would be talking something different. We'd be talking progress. Yes.
wow. Remember, you at home, you can be part of this conversation by commenting on the comment section below, and also go on our Facebook page, the Surprise Golela podcast and updates. Send us a message there. We are going to respond to you. Also, my personal Facebook account, Surprise Golela Mashwele, and also you can go on our WhatsApp number 0614065802, and also you can just help us grow our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button down below and give this video a thumbs up. And also, don't forget to comment what you think about this conversation. We are still in conversation with Tshabalala, who is actually a human rights and LGBTQI plus activist in South Africa. We are talking about democracy and the rights of the LGBTQI plus community. Now, Tulani, we hear what you are saying, and earlier on I actually pulled a poll on people on Facebook to ask them, do they think that our country has fully accepted the LGBTQI community? And a lot of people are saying no, our country has not fully accepted. Someone, Papito, who said that there are still people who think that being gay or lesbian is a choice. And he even went as far as saying that we have celebrities who just act as if they like gay people just for the public eye, and most people, they just do it for that. And also he's saying that especially in our rural communities, we have lack of information. And we also have people like Lehasa, who are saying South African government has accepted the LGBTQI plus community, but then the South African community itself, it has not. So do you think that there will be a point in South Africa where we fully accept those who identify as part of the LGBTQI plus community?
Well, honestly, as a believer in Christ,
Yes.
I'm going to answer rather as a believer in Christ, not as an activist, not as Utulani or Lurnay, not as an academic or a writer or a researcher,
Yes.
or even someone who's very much politically influenced, who loves politics so much. So what I actually think is that we are still going in for a rough and tough fight for that, because we have a lot of people who are very much close-minded. And mind you, having to accept something, you have to be open about it.
Yes.
And you have to learn as much as you can about it, just as much as we learn about gender-based violence. We learn about the issue of state capture, for instance. You cannot just decide to say, oh yes, Jacob Zuma is guilty, without having to learn about the state capture, because the issue doesn't start only with Jacob Zuma. The issue doesn't evolve around Jacob Zuma. So, not moving away from the question, I just want to say, I don't think the accept point is going to come near or anytime soon. And I don't even think it will come in the near 5 years, because we still have a lot of closed-minded people. And if people were to just sit down and actually reason with themselves and say, how about we try to learn? How about we call in one person and actually sit down with them and ask them questions and get to, hear their stories, their story, and get to hear how they grew up, how they actually, got to the point where they are right now. So if we'd have people like that, if we'd have people who are curious and who are willing to actually sit down and have a conversation, then I'd say we're moving and we're seeing progress. But then we're not. Unfortunately, we're not.
Wow. And what is it that actually you as activists you are doing now when the country is like that? And right now you are saying we won't even see that acceptance happening in the near 5 years. What are activists doing about that?
Well, there's a lot of us who are activists for this community of ours, this lovely community of ours. I call it the rainbow community, by the way. I don't like calling it the LGBTQI, but then it is what it is. So I like calling it the rainbow. So the rainbow community, there's a lot of us who are activists for the rainbow community. There's a lot more that I cannot even mention, but I can mention just one, which is very popular, whom is very popular, Utami Dish, Utami Kotlolo, so he's his friend.
Yes.
He's been doing a lot. He's been engaging with the president himself. He's been engaging with all ministers there too. He's been engaging with, the state. He's been involved in all of that. Not following much that what he has been doing actually, but then he has written a letter of reminding the Gauteng Premier, Mr. David Makhura, reminding him of the promises he has made to the LGBTQI community of not only South Africa, but Gauteng province. So I've been seeing that. I read the letter and I've reviewed the letter. It's quite a great letter. It's quite a respectful letter, and which is quite similar to the one that I wrote to our respective president, the Honorable President, Mr. Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa. I wrote a letter to him, an open letter, which is very quite respectful, addressing the issues that we have, addressing the anger, addressing the hurt that we as a queer community, the rainbow community of South Africa are feeling. And I can say that is what we have been trying to do besides protesting. I know that people expect activists to be like, the main lead protesters, but then in my case, I'm not the lead protester. I believe that protesting has been, the oldest method, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't work. So for me, what works is actually having to move along with the train and actually pump the brakes and actually reach out to the actual person that you want to try to talk to, like the president, like the minister, like so and so, like the chief justice or so and so. You have to knock on the doors. That's what I believe in. Knock on the doors, irritate them if you have to, so that they can get to hear you, they can get to know you and notice you and hear your matter, that this is what we're dealing with. This is what we want to be addressed, Mr. President. So basically, that's my form of activism. That's what I've been doing from my side. Besides the protesting, I don't really like protesting, but I'm not saying people shouldn't do it. But then for my side, I think it's the oldest method. It works in some cases, but in the LGBTQI cases, it hasn't worked at all. We have protested for Ulindo Cele, may his soul rest in peace, but then the protesting hasn't got anyway. Yes, the guy is going to trial, the perpetrator, but then I don't see any point for us protesting. But I feel like what we need to do is to actually sit down, form a council, and then the council has to send a representative to go and actually knock on the door of the state or the public entity and say, this is what we want, and this is what we need from you as a respected person in the country at large.
When you are talking there, you are mentioning now the letter that you wrote to the president. What make you actually to just sit down to say, I'm now going to write a letter to the highest office? You're not writing a letter to someone like Surprise, but you are writing to the highest office in the country. There must be something that actually pushed you to do that. What is it?
You know, it's a very sad story. I'd love to tell it all, but I can't because of, the time that we
Yes.
have. And I don't want to make the interview longer. So what inspired the letter was hearing about the death of the late Usmangaliso in Soweto. I forgot the surname. I was writing my exams during that time. I was heading to an examination center where I was supposed to be fetching my timetable. And I remember paging through Facebook.
Yes.
And reading about the name Smangaliso Kiasi. That's the surname Kiasi. Usmangaliso Kiasi. I remember reading about him having the hashtag Justice for Smangaliso. That pierced my heart. It became very much hemorrhaging because I thought,
well, it seems like we just lost Tshabalala, human rights activist, youth mentor, researcher, and an entrepreneur who was just telling us about the challenges the LGBTQI plus community is facing within the country. And he was also telling about the letter he wrote to the president of the country, President Cyril Ramaphosa. On the letter, he was highlighting some of the struggles that the LGBTQI plus community members they are facing in South Africa, and how the justice system in the country continues to fail them. Now, you at home, you can be part of this conversation by telling us what you think about the conversation we are having today. Comment on the comment section. Also, go on our Facebook page, the Surprise Golela podcast and updates, and also my personal Facebook account, Surprise Golela Mashwele. And also on WhatsApp, you can send us a voice note or a message if you want to share with us your experiences as being a part of the LGBTQI plus community in South Africa. How are they? Are you safe? Or what's happening? And remember the poll question that we asked you. You can also engage with us on it. Have we really, as South Africans or as a country, accepted those who identify as part of the LGBTQI plus? A voice note on WhatsApp 0614065832, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and give this video a thumbs up, and also click on the notification bell so that you get notified every time when we upload a new video. And we are now joined by another member of the queer community, all the way from Kagiso, Elena at Supatsela Secondary School, and former Mr. Kagiso, Mzwakhe Bolotina. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the Surprise Scholar podcast. How are you?
Hi, Surprise. I'm good. And thank you for having me.
We are so blessed to have you. I know it's festive seasons and people want to be relaxing at home with their families and loved ones, but here we are working.
Yeah, yes.
Well, now, before we can even go any further, you are also a member of the LGBTQI plus community in South Africa, and from the conversation we just had with Tulani before we lost him on the line, he was telling us about some of the challenges that the community is facing. And you, from yourself personally, what are some of the challenges you faced as a queer somebody in South Africa?
Yes, I am a member of the LGBTQI community. Specifically, I am gay, and we face a lot of challenges, Surprise, be it discrimination, be it homophobic slurs, be it, a lot of hatred, That's what we face in this day and age.
Mm. And what are
Yes.
some of, those challenges that you personally you've faced?
I've faced in my community personal, I haven't faced discrimination, but I've faced homophobic slurs. They've never discriminated me, but there'll be those 2 or 3 people in the streets when you pass. They would say words such as, sorry for the language, words
Okay.
such as taban, stuzana, such words. But then those words, they never, and I never choose to listen to negativity. I choose to do me and be me for me.
Mm. And how safe do you feel now in the society that you live in, especially with all that is happening right now?
I personal, I am safe because I can say a masculine type of person, right?
Okay.
I can be discreet. I'm not like those queer bodies who are feminine, who are drag queens, who face a lot of challenges. Those ones, they can't be discreet. Or mona fela atlaga, and people would be so hateful towards him or her. So personal, I feel safe because I can go to the shop, actors like straight D, yo, buffet, to things like that. You get.
Yes. So what you are saying actually is that there is a time where you actually have to be discreet, and is that even healthy for you? To live what I can say is a double life, where when you are in some spaces you have to be this person, and when you are in another space you have to be the other person. Is that healthy for you?
Absolutely not. It's not. It's not healthy. It's not even good for anyone. And I don't wish for anyone to experience what I've experienced. Thing is, we are living in a society that is judgmental, a society that is hateful, a society that can kill you for being you. So a society that can protect a rapist, but bash a man who sleeps with another man, or a man who loves another man.
Countries like Uganda and many other African countries, they have made same-sex relationships a crime, and people who are part of the LGBTQI plus community, it's not like they don't exist in those countries. And the other time I was watching this clip where the former president of Botswana said actually on record that during his reign as the president, he wanted to, decriminalize the same-sex relationships in Botswana, but he couldn't because he could not risk losing votes to gays. That's what he said. And so, do you think there are some African leaders who are actually, scared of losing votes just because they support same-sex marriages?
Absolutely, we see that even in South Africa, there are political leaders who are rather opposite to what you are saying, who use gay gay type of thing to gain votes, and there are those who want to advocate for queer bodies, but they are scared that if I advocate for queer bodies, voters are going to leave me. People are going to say we cannot be led by a gay man, or a lesbian man, or a gay supporter, or something like that. So yes, there are leaders like that.
So, according to you, do you think that the queer community is well represented in our country?
Not really, but we are slowly breaking boundaries. if I must say, today we are able to see queer bodies in parliament representing us today. We see them in our media, even though we're not represented as much as possible. But we are slowly getting there as queer bodies, or as queer society.
And do you think that communities, especially those rural communities, have enough information, about this queer community and queer bodies?
No, they don't have enough information on what is gay person, what is an intersex, what is a lesbian, what is queer.
Mm.
It's all because we as queer bodies, especially those who have platform or influence rather, or command quite a following on social media, they do not use their following to advocate for such, to raise awareness. We still need us, we still need to make sure that we make those initiative, we make those awareness, we host those prides, we host those dialogues, we host such topics as individuals or as queer bodies.
Mm. And do you think there will be a point in South Africa where we can safely say the queer community is now safe? Because obviously right now we cannot say it is really safe. Judging from the poll question that we asked our viewers on Facebook, all of them, they've been saying that the South African community has not yet accepted the queer body. Do you think there will be a time where we can say the queer body is safe and South Africans really acknowledge them, that they are amongst us?
Absolutely, there will be that time, if we see more visibility of queer bodies in parliament, especially parliament or in legislatures, because that's where the bills are signed, that's where the motions are made. So we need to make sure that we become visible in those spaces, especially in such spaces that have influence. I'm talking about the likes of your entertainment industry. We need to be there. We need to be visible. Yes, absolutely. We will get a time. We will be in time where we are safe, rather. Yeah, because now they've not accepted us per se. They are tolerating us. They just haven't accepted us. You get me?
Wow. Talking about that media visibility, I remember a few months ago, one of the influencers, you are talking about influencers, one of the influencers went on Twitter or on social media to say that we need to teach our children about homosexuality at a young age. And they were best, like the whole Twitter actually came on them to say what they are saying, it was wrong, and all those ways. So do you think that we really need such right now?
We don't, but judging from what that influencer Lasizwe said, we really have to teach the coming generation, or the young ones, about homosexuality. It's like disability. We need to teach young ones about disability. We need to teach it's because homosexuality, for it to become a sin, it was taught by religious people. They taught that, they preached that. It's like racism. It's been taught at home, right? It's not something that we can go strating. You are being taught, hey, ke motho o mosweu, ke motho o montsho. So I think we should, even such dolls, do you know such, the likes of Kimang Kotatso Ditebe, that lady with what in I don't know what you call it in English, but Kastswana Obita Mollo wa Badimo. We need such
Yes.
dolls. We need such dolls that will make people aware that, hey, such people, they exist. They are here. And we need to make sure that we live in harmony. We live in peace with them. We live in in respect and caring for one another.
You know, right now we are in the middle of a pandemic, and a lot of people, they are at home with their families specifically, and we all know that a lot of people are facing homophobia coming from their family. Now, how important it is as a queer body or as a queer someone to have family support?
I feel like it is important for every queer body to have a family, a support of a family, because that's where it starts. If your family does not support you, what about the people Baba Kostrating? Those ones Baba Kostrating, they won't support you because your family can't even support you. So support your family. We need it. 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 Yeah, we need it.
Well, you at home, you can be part of this conversation by commenting on the comment section. Also go on our Facebook page, the Surprise Golela podcast, and updates. Send us a message in my personal Facebook account, Surprise Golela. Also on our WhatsApp line, you can send a voice note or a message on 0614065832. We are still in conversation with Mzwakhe Bolotina, who's telling us about some of the challenges that he himself faced in South Africa as a queer body. And right now he was just telling us how important it is for a queer body to have that support from their family. Now, Mzwakhe, what message can you give to someone right now who is facing, homophobic attacks from the community they are in, and they can't speak up? They are scared of speaking up about it.
The advice I can give to them is, guys, we living in times where everything that we do, it's for us, by us, to us. So if you are going to live for people, you must understand uguti. Angeke uze ubajabulise bonke. You can't please everybody. You are not money.
Yes.
You have to be yourself. You have to be you. And guys, there's nothing, and to our queer bodies, our queer families, there's nothing wrong with somebody asking you what is gay. I feel like we take so much offense when somebody asks me, Mzwakhe, why only gay? People want to understand. We need to, firstly, we must not bash them first or be defensive first. We need to educate people with homosexuality.
Well, that was Mzwakhe Bolotina telling us about his experience as a queer body in South Africa. He's saying that we as the queer body, we need to educate those around us and not just take offense when people ask us questions. Mzwakhe, thank you so much for joining us right here on the Surprise Golela podcast. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, and please sanitize, wear your mask, and stay safe.
Definitely, and same thing to you there. Now let's look at some of the comments we received on our poll questions that we asked on my personal Facebook account, Surprise Golela Mzwakhe. As you can see there, quite a number of people, they engaged with us on this poll question, and the question was, do you think South Africa has fully accepted those who identify as part of the LGBTQI plus? And we've got Papito. You won't see his name because he decided to stay anonymous, who's saying it's not everyone. And I asked them why, and he said it's obvious, bro. People still think being gay or lesbian is a choice, and most celebrities don't really like gays. They just do it for the public eye, and mostly it's the rural areas because of lack of information. And also we've got Bandile Madolo, who's saying yes, they did, but not all of them. Saying, take it this way, many people grew up knowing that a man is supposed to make his father's surname grow, so it's not easy for them to accept such things. And also we've got Predin Ndlovu, who's saying, sadly, no. There are some people whom are still afraid to express themselves because of homophobic being clueless about the LGBTQI plus community. And which is also true. And we also have Andile Swelankomo, who's saying, I really want to say yes, but no. The SA legislation has, but not the citizens in the country. I feel like people have grown tolerance for the community, and that's just that. And we also have another comment from Lehasa, who's saying, South Africa accepted it, but South Africans, nope. South African government has accepted and approved same gender marriage. They made protection measures for the LGBTQ plus, but South Africans didn't fully accept that. Even families failed to accept, and which is something. And you see, when we are going through all these comments, everyone is talking about the same thing, to say that yes, the government has accepted the LGBTQI plus community. They know they exist and all that, and they are coming with legislations to protect them. But then the citizens in South Africa, not all of them have fully accepted. And from the comments that we are reading, we can see that some of these people, they've really experienced this homophobic attacks, and there are so many comments that we've received there. You can see for yourself. Sibusiso say to Dlamini, they is saying, my dad just told me straight into my eyes that he's never gonna accept that kinda So South Africa has a long way to go, and indeed South Africa still has a long way to go. We still need to teach people these kind of things, and you can see some of the people who engaged with us there. Most people, actually all of them who send us messages, are saying no, 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 no. And we also asked another question, if we can just go quickly on it. Remember, you can also be part of this conversation by going on our Facebook page, the Surprise Scholar Podcast and Updates. Send us a message, or my personal account, the one that you are seeing on your screen, Surprise Golela Mahwele, or on WhatsApp. You can send us a voice note, a message on 061 406 5832. We are going to respond to you as quickly as possible. Now, we asked people if they've experienced homophobia in their life, and it was a very great conversation actually to have with these people. We've got Stembiso, who responded first to say, in primary I was bullied and called stubborn before I even knew I liked boys. Almost every day it was honestly depressing, and I can only imagine. We also have Brandon Horn there, who said, I used to eat my lunch in the toilet back in grade 2 because homophobic kids will bully you till you can't handle it. And imagine someone at a young age, grade 2. I think when you are in grade 2, you should be 7 years, somewhere there. You are eating in the toilet. That's just so painful. Got another comment from Kabelo, who say most homosexuals face homophobia almost every day. I think it depends on the environment one is in and the response they give to the homophobes. Growing up, I was called names such as Stabanis, Juzane, Sisbuti. When one called me with those names, I would retaliate as if they son my mother. It really hurt. But ever since I got to understand the person I was and being proud of who I am, it doesn't mean, or it doesn't matter anymore. I only retaliate to physical homophobia, and the verbal one doesn't really matter because I've outgrown it. And it's not everyone actually who has the that thing to outgrow the homophobia they face. Some, it really takes them into that deep whole of depression, which a lot of people are actually battling with because of this homophobic attacks they experience on their everyday life. And thank you so much, you guys, for sending all those comments, all your stories. It's so brave of you. I'm so proud of you, all of you. We do see your comments. We cannot go through all the comments, but we do see them. We have received them. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Remember, you can also share your story with us on our WhatsApp line 061 4065832, or you can go on my personal account on Facebook, Surprise Golela Mashwele, the one we are on right now. We are checking all these comments, or you can also go on my Facebook page, the Surprise Golela podcast and updates. That's where you can interact with us. We still want to hear your stories, because we understand there are people who just want to talk about these experiences. If you are comfortable, you can also just comment right below. What do you think about the conversation that we are having? Do you think South Africa has accepted those who are part of the LGBTQI plus community, or do you think they just grown tolerance like a lot of people are saying? Have you ever experienced homophobia in your life? If yes, just tell us your story. Go on those platforms that I've mentioned. You can also help us grow our YouTube channel by just clicking on the subscription button. Click the notification bell as well, so that you get notified every time we upload a new video. This is a commitment we are making, that we are going to cover all the topics that affect every South African citizen. Remember, gay rights are also human rights. And that's how we come to the end of today's episode right here on the Surprise Caller podcast. If you want to be interviewed, or your friends or family members right here on this podcast, send us a message on our Facebook page, the Surprise Caller podcast and updates, or on WhatsApp, send a message to 0614065832. Please help us grow our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button, and also click the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. From myself, Surprise Golela, and the rest of the Surprise Golela podcast team, thank you so much. It's bye-bye for now. Please be safe, South Africa. Remember, COVID-19 is still with us. When you go out in the public space, please carry your sanitizer and also your face mask. Thank you.